Hello, I'm Interweb Studios, and in this video we ask Reddit what are some things that should not be passed on between generations. I hope you enjoy the video, and with that, sit back and enjoy. Trauma. I have noticed my parents always did things the way their parents did. They never questioned it or remembered how it made them feel like shit. My friends and I are the opposite and question everything and have pinpointed what was awful growing up, and don't do that to our kids. The amount of things growing up in the 80s, 90s that were just answered with being hit or punished or yelled at or sent to my room or told to just deal with it and be quiet was extraordinary. I hope I can pass that mentality down to my kids as well. I remember being sent to my room to think about what I did. It gave me an anxiety disorder that my mom to this day just doesn't know why I feel so terribly about myself. Because I spent hours sobbing about how ducking terrible I was every time I did something not right. Or why I had such a hard time letting myself feel my big feelings until I was 30 and in therapy because I was always told, stop it. When I was crying in public or having a hard time at home. I now am parenting my parents on how to talk to me and my kids because they were never gently parented. It's exhausting. STDs. Right. Wait, what? Parents can give their kids STDs during childbirth. Mothers especially. Less common from fathers. It would be very weird to get an STD during childbirth from your dad. The "I suffered through it, so you can suffer too" mentality. I first noticed this in undergrad. Some jerk would ask the professor why he had to take this class that's unrelated to his major. The professor would fire back, "I had to take it, so you do too." Maybe the class is necessary. Maybe it's not, but if that's the true reason, it could be replaced with something useful. If it's not the reason, then an actual explanation would lead to a less resentful answer. From then on, I'd see it used often. Mostly for debt. Edit. I know why we take the classes. I'm saying the professor would always give the "I had to do it, so you do too" response instead of explaining why. A physics professor was explaining a particularly difficult concept when a pre-med student interrupted him. "Why do we have to learn this stuff?" he said. "To save lives," the professor replied and proceeded with his lecture. A few minutes later the student spoke up again. "How does physics save lives?" The professor stared at the student for a moment. Then he said, "Physics saves lives, young man, because it keeps the idiots out of medical school. At least in my family, the fancy wine glasses. No one ever uses them, everyone keeps them hidden in cupboards because they're too nice to use. They're not even sentimental, someone just picked them up one day and handed them around the family. Life is short. Use the nice glasses." Yep, we realized after a few years that for the things we didn't have to hand wash, our nice stuff is now our everyday stuff. Probably has gotten 100x the use from when it was special event only. As grandma always said about using the fine china at family dinners, if you don't use it, you lost it. I'd rather it be worn and chipped having a beautiful dinner with all the people and things I love. Bitsy. Cancer. My mom passed from cancer and then a month later I was diagnosed. It sucks. Peas. I'm kicking its butt and making it my bitch. This damn cookie jar, I told my gram it creeps me out. Well, come on now, tell us more. Is it the soulless eyes? Is it the porcelain skin? Is it the fact that great-great-grandma taxidermied her Sphinx cat to make the cookie jar? It's a freaking porcelain clown head. I put it as deep in my closet as I can, but I know he's still watching me. Sorry, but this cracked me up. We have something similar. It's demonic-looking doll that my wife says we can't get rid of cause her mom will ask about it at some point. For now it just sits in the back of the closet, most likely planning how to steal our souls. The idea that what you like to do isn't worth anything. Yeah, it was always weird growing up when my parents would scoff at someone having fun or living their life. For example, they mocked my brother for taking scuba diving lessons because they thought it wasn't productive, or they would talk shit about family members who took vacations that weren't at a resort or tourist trap. I grew up learning that mentality. It took me a while to get over it. Why am I going to watch a medieval knights tournament? Because it's fun. Because I want to do it. It's like they need some kind of justification to enjoy themselves. One time when I was watching my niece's dance recital, my mom said something like, "A lot of these parents are wasting their money. Some of these kids aren't going anywhere. Why does everything need to go somewhere? Why can't kids just pick up a fun hobby that can keep them fit and leave some good memories? Baldness. Thanks Gramps. Edit. Glad to hear bald is sexy. Actually been buzzing mine since my early 20s and love it. An old fella I made friends with told me about a visit to the doctor he had concerning his hair loss. But my family doesn't have a history of male pattern baldness. Why am I getting it? The doctor's deadass response. It's gotta start somewhere. Racism. So much of this. I was raised around a bunch of people who were racist. I hate how it molded my mind and thoughts as I was growing up. I was always very attracted to women other than my race, but it was so taboo I never even considered it as an option. Also, it took me being older and getting out in the world to realize that not all the opinions that were pushed on me were true. Granted, there are going to be people who do fit the stereotype from all races, but for the most part people are just trying to live their life. Debt. At least in US debt dies with its owner. Sort of. The estate of the dead has to cover most kinds of debt, including student loans. So, while it won't cost the children money to pay off the debt, it will reduce the estate from which any inheritance will be paid. If the estate has debt, the money isn't theirs but borrowed, of course it gets used to cover debt. But if the result is negative, that shall not be passed forward. Expectations. We all have our own goals, desires and dreams. We shouldn't be expected to carry a family business, marry a certain kind of person, attend a particular college, earn a specific amount of money, live in a certain neighborhood. Don't let the opinions of older generations' family or not dictate your life. Add giving your parents grandkids to that list. My husband and I have offhandedly mentioned a few times, if we have grandkids someday, blah blah blah, just in passing. Our oldest son said to us a few weeks ago, I don't want kids, but I'll have one so you can be grandparents. We nipped that in the bud and told him he and neither of his brothers are under any obligation to have kids if they don't want them. Would we love the shit out of grandkids? Of course. Is it worth our kids doing something they don't want and will likely regret? Hell no. We've stopped the offhanded comments now lol. The whole narrative that because someone is older they deserve blind respect and obedience. I always approach older people with respect, as a default. Then decide if they deserved it out not and act accordingly. But drop the age and simply respect anyone by default. Making your child as your retirement fund. My mom pushed me to take out loans for college when I wasn't sure what I wanted to do because I would need a good job to support her when she got old. The last time she reminded me of that, I said I'll give her as much as she's given her parents. That amount being zero, because I'm the one taking care of them. Good call. Very fair way to expose hypocrisy. Even gives her a way out. Dangerous advice for pregnancies, babies, and young children. Most common examples I have seen. Castor oil for inducing labor. Blankets for sleeping babies, not swaddled. Rice cereal in bottles, unless doctor advised. Making your own formula. Survivor's bias is big on why this crap still gets passed around despite plenty of research proving they aren't safe. A lot of women don't even bother doing any research or taking free classes their healthcare offers that goes over a lot of this. I would like to add the belief that fetal movements decrease as pregnancy progresses due to baby running out of space. This is not true. Any reduced fetal movements should be reported to your midwife or obstetrician immediately. Smoking. Everybody my age I know who smokes do so because their parents, guardians either enabled them to or did not care enough to stop them. It's terrible. The amount of shitty parents who introduce their children to cigarettes, hard drugs and whatnot is insane. My cousin got addicted to heroin at 14 through this and now spends his days at a mental hospital. On the other hand, being hot-boxed on car journeys in the 70s and 80s by my chain-smoking parents made my sister and I fervent anti-smokers. Alrighty, time for the lightning round. Here we go. The bottle up your emotions manliness. Boys having to make the first move. Hereditary diseases. Emotional trauma. Religion. I don't think religion should be forced upon your children, it should be a choice when they grow up. Yelling and slamming doors. Cursing at your children and getting angry at them when you're teaching them things. The idea that a two-party system works, and that politicians actually care about you. The practice of circumcisions. The notion that boys will be boys, and lil girls are princesses. The stay in school, go university, get a good job, get married and buy a house mentality is very old school and it's not easy as people think. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment anything I may have missed. Check out this video on screen as I bet it will be quite entertaining. With that, until next time.